Alright, if you hear some rain in the background, that's because it's raining. Alright, so I want to start this off by saying that comparing TDS and TDX are like comparing apples and oranges. Yes, they are both games in the same genre, however, they are both completely different in both tones and themes. However, recently, TDS has been feeling more and more similar to TDX. Because as of recently, TDS has been caught up in some drama relating to supposedly copying other games, most notably Tower Defense X. In case you don't know, Tower Defense Simulator has been one of the most popular tower defense games on Roblox in years. It is incredibly well made, but it's also always been in a bit of drama for supposedly copying games like Tower Battles. However, people have always decided to, turn a blind eye because TDS is a well-made game. But now recently, with their newest competitor, TDX, it seems as though TDS isn't really able to keep up very well, and they are obviously copying a lot of features. Or, I think a more accurate phrase would probably be taking heavy inspiration, emphasis on heavy, because a lot of the newer features are uncannily similar to some of TDX's. This has been happening for a little while now, with certain features TDS has released being oddly similar to TDX, most notably things like the cryo tower they added for Christmas and that tank update, which they seem to release very closely to TDX's tank update. However, the most damning evidence against TDS was definitely the two most recent updates. The first one is intermediate mode. I'm going to go out of my way first and say that intermediate mode is trash. Basically, if you don't know, intermediate mode is supposed to be a bridge between molten mode, which is the game's medium mode, and fallen mode, which is the game's harder mode. It's supposed to be a bridge between the two, however, it does not do its job well. First of all, it only has 30 waves, whereas both fallen mode and molten mode have 40 waves, which doesn't make any sense. And not to mention that the balancing is really bad. None of the exclusive enemies are threatening in the slightest. The final boss, which is like, I don't even remember his name, the scientist guy, he's mildly annoying due to his healing, but that's about it. But the main thing about intermediate mode that a lot of people have been calling out is that a lot of the enemies do not feel like TDS at all. Hell, they don't even fit the style of Polluted Wastelands, which is the most exaggerated mode in the game with the weirdest enemy designs. In a good way, it's supposed to look weird. But with intermediate mode's enemies, they look vaguely similar to TDX's style, which, TDX's style is, consisting of mutant zombies and robots. That's kind of their main gimmick. That's kind of what you think of when you think of TDX. And definitely the worst offender of this supposedly copied style would definitely be TDS's Reaver. This guy is a very obvious knockoff to the TDX style. However, let's play devil's advocate. Let's just say those are coincidences and that those updates have been planned for a long time and TDS just so happened to release them very soon. Hell, maybe they are even releasing them to keep up with TDX. However, the most damning thing is undoubtedly the newest Consumables update. If you don't know, about 3 days ago, as of the time of recording this, TDS has released these things called Consumables, which are a 1-to-1 knockoff of TDX's power-ups, which were added not even a month ago. Basically, in a nutshell, you're able to buy these power-ups or consumables, which are usually things like bombs or money drops, to help you throughout matches. And the thing is, TDS really doesn't need this. TDX's whole theme is being difficult and almost feeling hopeless at times, so having these power-ups is really useful. But with TDS, you can just place down a bunch of accelerators and you really don't have a problem. You hardly ever need extra money or to blow up everything on the map. Now, a lot of people have been saying, oh, well, TDS should be allowed to do whatever they want, They should be allowed to change their style. However, the problem is that TDS doesn't even feel like it has a style anymore. There's nothing to really identify TDS with. Whereas a few years ago, you could look at something and be like, oh, yeah, that's obviously TDS. With the newer enemies, it's getting harder and harder to tell what's from TDS. And the reason why this is bad is because it sort of destroys what TDS is. TDS should be its own game. It shouldn't be trying to replicate the styles of other games because, one, that's not exactly a very good look for them, and number two, it completely ruins their own identity. To be completely honest, TDS has been on a bit of a losing streak lately with their two newest events, their newest game mode being an absolute flop, and this very controversial Consumables update. I'm really hoping that TDS can recover from this, because genuinely, both TDS and TDX are good games. You know, I don't want to see either game like fall or fail, and I definitely don't want to see them copying each other. That's about it. See ya. Voice Critical out.